Hi guys, I'm Madeline Murray and I'm going to be your group leader for this week's craft activity. And before we get started, I just was wondering if anybody else was feeling just really overwhelmed by this semester. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this semester has just been worse than any of the other ones we've had so far, and I don't know if it's because we're online for the second semester in a row and we're just kind of over it, or if it's because classes are getting progressively harder as we're getting closer to entering the program. But I just know that I feel like I've had a lot of classes have a lot of projects and activities and exams due the same time, the same day, the same week, and it's just made this year a lot more stressful than I was planning on it being. So in order to combat that, I was trying to think of an activity that would be fun and creative, but it would also help us relieve some of the stress that has been built up, because I know for me this has just been a really stressful semester and an even stressful last couple weeks. So while thinking of an activity that would kind of help get rid of stress, I thought of a video I saw on TikTok a while ago where someone went and bought some glass plates and they wrote on them in Sharpie, and they kind of just wrote down everything and anything that was bothering them, anything that was stressing them out, and really just anything that they wanted to move past and get rid of. And then they went outside, they found a brick wall, they went really anywhere that they could, and they threw the plate as hard as they can, and they tried to get rid of all their stress. And I loved that idea. I thought that it would just be a really great way to think about the things that are bothering me, write them down, realize if I take this step by step, it's not going to be as stressful as I thought it was, and maybe, just maybe, hopefully, I'll be able to get through it. And while I loved that idea, we couldn't really do that idea because it's not really a craft activity. So when thinking of it, I found something kind of similar and kind of close, and it is this little stress popper. It's very similar to a confetti popper that you would pull New Year's Eve when it hits midnight, or maybe some kind of noise thing that you would use for 4th of July or someone's birthday party, where this is stuffed inside and you pull this and you let go and whatever's inside flies and you have a fun little surprise. But for us, I thought it would be fun to decorate our little stress popper and write down everything that is stressing us out and put it inside and try to get rid of it. And while it might not be as therapeutic as throwing a plate at a wall and watching all of our stress shatter away, I thought this would be a cool idea to watch it fly away or pop into the air and hopefully just kind of stop bothering us as much as it used to. So to get started with that, we're gonna need some supplies, and for that we're gonna use an empty toilet paper roll, some tape, a balloon, and hopefully you guys still have balloons left over from the stress ball project we did a couple weeks ago so that we don't have to buy more materials. And then we're gonna need some paper to write down the things that are bothering us, some markers. I'm using these highlighters because I thought they were pretty cool colors, and my markers don't have colors that cool. We're also gonna need a pen or something to write down the things that are bothering us, and a pair of scissors. So while we get ready to start decorating our toilet paper roll, I thought it'd be a good idea to start thinking about the things that are stressing you out. Start thinking about those little things that are bugging you at work or with school. I don't know if it's the fact that not a lot of us have occupational balance at the moment. I did notice that when I was looking through the discussion board a couple weeks ago, that we're all kind of struggling and we're all kind of focusing and putting all of our efforts into education and then rest and sleep and our ADLs, and we're not really focusing it on those important leisure activities and the important social participation part of our lives. So maybe you can think about some of those things and how those things are bothering you and get ready to write those down. as we get there. But for right now, we're gonna start and decorate this. If you don't really want to decorate your tube and you kind of just want to make it your favorite color, you can go ahead and do that. Just take your paper, get a color paper, and kind of wrap it around, and then you can be done from there. But I like to be creative and I like to color because it's one of those things where I can make things unique to me. So I thought I would go ahead and decorate this and kind of make it something like this. And if you can see it, just make it something that looks pretty cool, but also gives me some time to take a second, relax, and focus my mind on something else. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Now, if you want, you can go ahead and do this with me or come back and do it on your own time whenever you're feeling like it. But I'm just gonna draw some of the things that I like, some of the things that make me happy and feel good right now. And one of those things is flowers. And I noticed that a lot of our projects this semester so far in this craft group have had to do with flowers. I've noticed we're all, so far that we've done, we're kind of making it spring, and I don't know if it's because we're trying to manifest spring because we're all over the cold weather. I know I am. I know these negative days have not been fun, and I'm looking forward to the day where I wake up and it's like 70 degrees again. I feel like that would make me happy. Hopefully after spring break, if we can just make it through spring break. I think we only have like 7 weeks after spring break. And as someone once told me, you can do anything for 7 weeks. So once we get through midterms, take spring break, and then get through the rest of our OT exams, we'll be good. We can take a small break and then just kind of go from there. I'm also going to try and draw a penguin. It's my favorite animal. It makes me happy. It is cold and it kind of contradicts the little flower that I just drew to symbolize spring, but we're gonna go for it anyway. I haven't had a chance to, this is not gonna turn out right, but that's okay because we're going with the flow and we're being creative. But I haven't had a chance to go through and look at the discussion board for this week, but I was kind of wondering if anyone else followed any OTs on social media. I actually follow a couple on TikTok. I follow a couple pediatric OTs, and that's what I hope to go into. Pediatrics, or maybe even just kind of adulthood, like not really geriatrics, but not really adolescents, kind of maybe like the 21 to 65 range. I was watching the lifespan lecture earlier today for this week, and I kind of liked the things that you could do for adults, because when you think about it, I know when I was thinking about OT, I never really thought of adults. I always thought it was like, oh, children or older adults, and never really anything in between, even though it's a known fact we kind of help everyone. So I'm thinking about that, but I do watch a couple pediatric OTs on TikTok, and I think it's really beneficial to watch and pay attention to. It was cool to see some of the equipment that they use. I watched a video the other day of one of them going through and kind of showing the tools around their facility, and they were showing the swing that they use and kind of why they use it and how it can help promote motor function and motor control and all those kinds of things, which I thought was really interesting because I've always seen them, but we haven't really learned about any of that yet, so I didn't know what it was. and how it could best be used. And like before this week, I never really knew that there were podcasts of occupational therapists, which I think would be really cool and really helpful to students who were just learning about occupational therapy, or students who are like us and either already applied to their master's program or the ones that are getting ready to apply next year. Because I think it would really help me if I could listen to somebody talk about their time in the master's program, or what to expect your first year out of college. Like, I know that scares me a little bit, like, oh, the first time when you're finally going to be out of on your own after all your field work and everything. I feel like it would be really beneficial to hear others talk about that and how they did it and how they got through it, which is why I think social media is so cool. You can, 20 years ago, you never really would have been able to know how other people felt about your profession before you got into it, which I thought was really awesome. Go ahead and take a pen. So I know we all kind of have occupational roles because it's a part of life. Everybody has a role or two that they are a part of, even if they don't realize it. But what are some of your favorite roles? I know I started thinking about that last week, even though that wasn't really the point. I don't know if that was the point of our discussion last week about what kind of roles we hold. But I started thinking about, like, out of all the roles I hold, which one is my favorite and what do I kind of enjoy the most? And the more I thought about it, like, I'm a student, I'm a sister, I am an employee, a coworker, a friend, and all of these other things. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized my favorite occupation is being a sister. I have two younger sisters who we're pretty close in age. They're both in high school, and they're like built-in best friends. And it's kind of fun, and that's just my favorite role right now. And while probably being a student is a more important role because that will define our futures and kind of where we end up, but I just, out of all of them, really enjoy participating in like leisure activities with my siblings and a social participation. And I always, we call each other and talk, and I actually FaceTime my sister a lot and do my leisure activity for this class because it's just a fun way for us to spend some time together and sort of help me participate in a leisure. It's helping me do both. I'm doing education, social participation, and leisure all in one, which is trying to create that occupational balance that we all know we're lacking just a little bit. So I'm just gonna go ahead really quick and put a couple more things on there. I'm gonna try to draw that penguin again because it looked kind of like a Pac-Man ghost. Let's see, let's make him blue. think that turned out pretty cool, and you guys can go ahead and do anything you want. I drew the sun. I love being outdoors, a penguin, some flowers, the rain, because I just find that so calming, and on the days that I am really stressed out, if it rains, it does help to calm me down. I can just lay there and like listen to the rain and kind of think about things and think about everything that's kind of bothering me. So for the next section, we're gonna go ahead and take our balloon. You can go ahead and stretch it out a little bit. I don't really know if it does anything, but I like to stretch it out. It makes me feel like I'm kind of doing something right. And then we can go ahead and tie it. We don't need to blow it up because we are just going to end up cutting it so that we can put it on and kind of create this seal to make this happen. I mean, if there's a little bit of air in there like mine has, it's not that big of a deal because it should come out if you just flatten it out while you cut it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it horizontally across, and I'm going to do it just a little bit above the middle so that there is enough room to wrap it around my toilet paper roll. So scissors are not the greatest, but now that that's cut, you can go ahead and choose whatever end of the roll you want and stretch out your balloon and just put it across the end, oops, to create that seal. And then you can go ahead and take your tape, or if you don't have tape, use glue, just anything to hold this down to the side to ensure that it's not going to fall off when you're trying to let your stress go. There we go. Careful putting your balloon on there. Mine looks like might have stretched it out a little bit too much and it's looking a little soft, so hopefully it doesn't break on us, but we'll see. Now that we have the outside of our project and pretty much the craft part of it complete, we can go ahead and get ready to make our confetti or the inside of it. So to do this, I'm gonna first cut out the strips. I feel like that makes it just a little bit easier to write on. I'm gonna do 5 to 10. You can do as many as you want. If you have a lot of things bothering you, go ahead and do a lot, whatever you want to get rid of, or even things that maybe you're not really stressed about, but you're just not happy with. Like one of mine I know is gonna end up being like no leisure time. Like I'm not happy that I don't really have a lot of leisure time right now, but I understand it's because we're the middle of the semester and midterms are coming up. I'm just gonna make them about this size, maybe a little bit bigger or smaller, but somewhere around there. So now we can just take that pen or pencil that we have and go ahead and start writing down some of the stuff that we'd like to change or that are bothering us. Oops. Can't have some of our stressors flying around like this yet. While we're thinking about classes and like the things that have stressed you out so far, what's been your favorite like OT prereq you've had to take? I really like the brain and I find it very interesting. Yeah, the neuropsych class that we had to take has been my favorite so far. I just found it really interesting to learn about the brain and learn about how everything connects and works, and it's actually really helped me with some of the other OT classes we've had to take. I know I'm talking about vision in one of my classes right now, and we talked about vision a lot in neuropsych and kind of how everything crosses and we receive it, and it's nice to see that everything is starting to build. And I've gotten to that point with these classes too, where we talk about one thing in one class and I'm able to relate it to all 3 OT classes that I'm taking. Let me just go ahead and get the last of these done. So like some of the simple ones that I wrote down was like Kinesiology 376. That class has been a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be, so that's stressing me out. Or like I said, no leisure time, no social participation is another big one, coming back to the fact that I just feel like as students we don't have as much occupational balance as we would wish. So next you can bring your little stress popper back over to the side and just kind of set it down and get ready to put your stresses inside. So doing that, I'm just gonna take them and kind of crinkle them up, make them a little bit small. This is kind of like the therapeutic part of the plate throwing, crunching it up and like getting rid of it, ripping it up, doing whatever you want to do to kind of symbolize that while it's stressful, you're not gonna let it bother you anymore, which I think is great, because while things like this should bother us and it should kind of stress us out because it might make us work just a little bit harder, it isn't good to let the stress be our entire lives and to let it take over everything. So now that all of those are in there, we get to do the fun part and actually let it go. Just want to make sure they're all centered in there. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it, and then I don't know if you saw that, now they're all over my room and some are still in here. They just kind of went everywhere and it felt good to just let go and get rid of it and kind of realize that while it's stressful, I'm not gonna let it stop me from doing the things that I want. I hope you guys found this activity as therapeutic as I did and really liked kind of putting 2 and 2 together like I tried to do with putting things that I am happy with and things that make me happy and using the happiness to surround the stressful part and the parts here and there that we wish we could change. I am looking forward to seeing everyone else's little stress poppers, and hopefully yours turned out pretty cool and that it didn't stretch and almost break like mine did. Let's do it one more time just to let go and symbolize that it's really not gonna hurt us anymore. Alright, well, hopefully you enjoyed this and that your midterms and these last couple weeks before we hit spring break go well for you.